This is the most off-putting Christmas movie ever. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon reviewing Dear Santa. So what is this movie about? Pretty simple premise. You have a boy who has a learning disability, and instead of writing Dear Santa, he writes Dear Satan. And what do you know? Satan comes up and he's got 3 wishes, like a genie, but after his 3rd wish, the kid is going to go to hell, but he gets to live his life, normally, but when he naturally dies, then he goes to hell. So what are his 3 wishes? Are they going to be for greed? Are they going to be for good? Are they just, and what's his family? What's his family? What's his issue? What's the issue? What's the issues here? Is he going to get the girl? 6th grader stuff, I guess, right? Anyway, so did I like this film? Honestly, not really. I think it's the off-puttingness of the message, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say, and I'll discuss about that a little bit later. But let's talk about the positives of this film. I do think when it comes to some of the comedic elements, it does work. Jack Black, you can tell, is having a good time. You can tell the kids, they're having a good time on set as well, even though this is a very simple filmed movie where not a lot of camera movements, and it's very a stationary film. I've noticed that. The messaging of the movie is pretty good about don't be a bully, stand up to people, and if you do stand up to people, there's no reason to add bulliness tactics to it. Because the whole point of the movie is the kid is super nice. All of his wishes, his first wish is something very good. His second wish is very good. His 3rd wish, very good. And that kind of goes on lines with what's going to occur at the very end of the film of, some people use wishes for like greed, for sex, for all this stuff, but not this kid. This kid kind of is like, he even says in the front of the movie, like childhood hunger, stuff like that. But then he kind of says, what about me? But also, what about the people around me? So there's good messaging like that. Of course, the kid says climate change, but a 6th grader isn't worried about climate change. They just ain't. They just ain't. Let's be honest. Let's just cut that stuff out right there. So yeah, that's to me about it. Is there some good messaging about anti-bullying and just be a good person in the world and Jack Black? But like I said, when you look at this movie as a whole, like the Post Malone concert, I've never seen him play in a small venue like that. Sure, there are very few ones, like Lincoln Park when they came back and did a 500-seater in, Los Angeles. But I don't see Post Malone doing this random concert in Georgia that sits like 300, 400 people max. So, that kind of looked funny in my opinion. Okay. But to me, the real issue with this movie is the messaging of not the kid being good to other people. It is the parents, the holidays, and thing that's occurring, right? So, a little bit of a spoiler, right? A little later on in the movie, you realize the reason why the parents are kind of separating is because a child died. And what it sounds like is maybe the child was running in the middle of the road and got hit by a car. Something like that, and that's what you're kind of getting with this movie, but doesn't really go into detail. And then there's a plot point in the movie where, the kid is eye-patting his friend saying, yeah, I didn't really tell you, but I had a brother, he died. And the friend's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't really do heavy-handed stuff. Okay, fine. So at the very end of the movie, Santa and Satan, right? So Satan, of course, there's a cameo by someone, if you know who it is. They play in the same movies as the Farrellys. I know I'm kind of like rambling on here, but hear me out. So what do you know? He actually gets a wish from Santa. And the wish from Santa is he can have his brother back. And it actually happened. So we are now in this weird time warp where only he knows what occurred with his brother of dying and coming back. And that's it, because like him telling his friend his brother died, he still thinks his brother is dead, right? So that's a weird plot point. We're going to get to that again. So that point right there, that's either going to make people really upset with this movie or like cry. I cried because my sister passed away. And like I said, there's going to be elements of this film where the holiday season isn't the greatest time for some people because of losing children, because of losing parents at this time of the year. So when that occurred, emotions were running through me, and probably not in a good way, because of like this little kid like wishing for his brother to be back, and it is back, and you're just thinking like it's kind of like, oh, this is a great way to end a film because it's going to end on a positive note of, this kid's like, oh my god, I get my brother back, I get a second chance. However, like 5 minutes later, iPad rings, and this girl that he likes, he did something like a bully-esque tactics to a teacher, and then the friend goes, oh, well, she's a sympathetic girl, so she's willing to give you a second chance because I told her that your brother died. And then the kid looks at the camera and is like, oh, that just dive-noved the movie for me, because at a point, you just got your brother back, and this random girl that you like in 6th grade. Your brother is a million times more important, a trillion times more important. That shouldn't even be a freaking plot point in this movie. When that happened, I got mad. I was physically upset just because of what occurred in my personal life and what happened to our family, if everything kind of... So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that. So, Dear Santa, I think there is some good messaging in this movie. I think Jack Black does a good job, but I think overall this is a tonally messy movie. It's a very cheaply looking movie. I understand why it's a Paramount Plus, not in the theaters. And like I said, the message, you could say tonal, it is all over the place, but the messaging at the very end rubbed me the wrong way. So Dear Santa will receive a 1.5 out of 5 Blue Futons. It goes at 30%. So see the critics' news scores gave this one. So critics, 8 of them right now, but we do have the audience score at 36% with over 50. The critics of 8 of them we have, all right, so 3 positives and 5 negatives. Do quick math in my head. Is that like a 45? Is that like a 45? 38. So we had a 38, my 30, and the audience is 36. Chase out here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm these Bluetoontopia. You Blue Futonians, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Watch Cate tomorrow, week from month, or need for hours. Zero freaking one of you. Peace and love, peace and love. And yeah, if you want to give this a try, sure. But yeah, it didn't hit the right way for me.